Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I've got a little bit of an unboxing of something that I've treated myself to, and I'm also going to show you something else that matches, but the title would already tell you what we're talking about, so there's no point being mysterious. We're talking about Coco Mademoiselle. I've got the Intense perfume and I've also got the body oil. So I'm going to talk about the body oil first of all. I treated myself to this about a week ago or so. It was a very random purchase. I started to see it online on Instagram and on YouTube. It just kept appearing and I didn't know it existed. I didn't know this lived. And I think from what I've read, it's been out a while, it's been out quite a few years, but I think there was a good long period where it disappeared, whether it was discontinued or what. So it's kind of like very recently made a reappearance. And what got my interest, so Coco Mademoiselle, it's a fragrance that I used to describe as screechy, sharp, a bit overbearing. I like the smell of it, I really do. So Coco Mademoiselle, for those that don't know, and probably that's not many of you, Coco Mademoiselle is predominantly, it's a fruity floral with a patchouli base. So there's rose and jasmine blended together, some citruses on top. You've got quite a prominent orangey note on top, and then underneath it you've got this patchouli, a very sort of bog standard fruituli kind of patchouli base, but it's not too strong for my taste. Sometimes patchouli can be too strong in a fruituli style perfume. I wouldn't want any more than what's in Coco Mademoiselle, but I find it perfectly palatable. My story with Coco Mademoiselle is I actually do enjoy it. I just have some criticisms, or had some criticisms over the years of it. I worked with someone who wore it to the office on sort of more special office occasions. You could tell it was her like trying that sounds a bit rude, it was her more effort day kind of, you know, if there was a special meeting, if there was something special going on, then she wore Coco Mademoiselle, and I really enjoyed it when she wore it. And it's such a strong perfume. It absolutely, I mean, I will smell it on someone who's walking on the other side of the road. It is such a big fragrance. It leaves a terrific sillage, and yeah, it's very distinctive. It's very noticeable. I'd put it right up there with Alien as being very distinctive. Most people, or generally I think a lot of people, will recognize it when they smell it. I've got a friend that sometimes wears it as well, and I thoroughly enjoy it when people around me are wearing it. I admire it. And I do remember a day, I can't remember where I was, but I was on a staycation somewhere. It was a city, and someone was wearing it quite a distance in front of us, and I just remember thinking I quite like that effect, that big strong perfume effect. Like, it's nice every now and then to be able to do that. But I never felt the need to own Coco Mademoiselle. I was never in love. It was always something I admired, but I just enjoyed it on other people. The one thing that I do though, when I go through an airport duty free, generally speaking, I will have a spray of Coco Mademoiselle, whether it's the Eau de Parfum or the Intense. I do enjoy it, and it feels bougie to me. It does feel a little bit special, so I will do that. I will, and it kind of like it takes me to airports now, you know. It makes me think I'm going on holiday. If I have a little spray of Coco Mademoiselle, I'm walking around and I'm wafting around this bougie, loud, sparkling, fruity floral perfume, and I enjoy to do that. So the reason I bought this, and as I say, it just kept catching my eye on Instagram. The reason I bought this oil, so it's called the l'huile corps, which means body oil in French. So it was called velvet body oil, I think, but I've also seen it called something else. But it's not saying velvet body oil. I think it's called silky body oil. I'm not sure. I think they're the same thing. But anyhow, this one, what's it say on the back? Silky moisturizing oil, it says on the back. And this is a plastic bottle, tight white cap. There's spray, so it sprays out, and obviously because it's a heavyish oil, it doesn't spray out a mist like a perfume at all. So if you're gonna spray it directly on your body, you want to aim it well, because otherwise you're just going to do a big squirt into your carpet or something. So
I'll try and show you what it looks like.
So you kind of like, you can see it's like very much a river of oil. So what I will do is that I'll spray it into my hand and then apply it sometimes. But let's just do that for now. And I mean, instantly the smell wafts up. It's totally recognisable, and it actually has a little bit of development. So obviously perfume generally has development. Any perfume you wear, from the first spray to what it ends up as on your skin, you're always going to have some differences. Some will change a lot more than others, but I wouldn't have necessarily expected a body oil to have a little bit of development. This does. So initially it's very much the citrusy stuff, that's the main thing. So I can still smell a little bit of the patchouli. It smells a little sweet, like almost like there's a little touch of vanilla or something, but mostly it's the citruses and the florals. So the rose and jasmine combining together to make it a sort of like a very distinctive Coco Mademoiselle fruity floral smell. But as it sort of changes on your skin, you do go through a little bit of development. You do get, it goes a little sweeter, it goes less sharp, so the citruses like do actually calm down like they would in a perfume. And I find that once it's been on my skin a little while, it smells more like the eau de parfum than when you first spray it. Perhaps it's a little fresher than what I'm used to with Coco Mademoiselle. And this actually seems to scent my skin for a good somewhere between an hour and 3 hours. I still haven't fully tested it. I only had the body oil on, it was a couple of days ago. I was going to the doctor's and I didn't want to wear a perfume because it was a last minute appointment, so I didn't want to spray perfume and go to the doctor's, because it would have been, whatever perfume would have been too much if it had just been sprayed. So I applied the body oil and I went to the doctor's, and I was actually at the doctor's for nearly an hour. And then I got home, and then I met someone and we had a hug, and he said, "You smell really good." And I said, "I'm not even wearing perfume, I'm just wearing body oil." So the smell was strong enough that probably an hour and a half after application it was detectable, albeit at quite close quarters. So yeah, I really like that. I enjoy it. It's not a necessity, and absolutely not sitting here telling you that you should buy it. But if you really enjoy the Coco Mademoiselle line, or if you have someone in your life that does, and you need to buy them a present for Christmas, for example, it could be a really nice addition to add into their routine. It's such a lovely thing. I've just had a lovely long hot bath, and it's so nice to get out the bath. If you're treating yourself, if you're having a little bit of a self-care moment, it's so nice to get out the bath with a shower and then to apply a beautiful luxury product that smells really, really nice. So yeah, I really enjoy that. It was £61. No, it's not worth it, but it kind of is to me as a luxury product, and I know what it is. I know it's not going to change in my life, but I quite like having it. And also because I got that, I then felt the need to buy the perfume finally. So I've got a box here. I wasn't gonna buy a fragrance at full retail. I wasn't going to buy Coco Mademoiselle. Chanel prices they're high, and they don't really discount, or if they do, it's very small. Like you might get 10% off on occasion somewhere, but apart from that. So I was never going to pay full retail. I decided to put a little call out on Facebook and see if anyone was selling a used bottle. I didn't even need a full bottle. Would have been happy with like that much left in a bottle, just so I could use it in conjunction with the oil on occasion, because I know that it's not a fragrance I need to have. It's not a fragrance I'll probably reach for that often, but I do have a little bit of a connection to it now, I guess, with my whole airport duty free thing. Just because I really enjoy that effect that people have when they're wearing it, that big, strong, loud perfume effect that Coco Mademoiselle has. It's very a uniquely distinctive fragrance. If that is not an oxymoron or paradoxical or whatever, it kind of is very, even though people say it's not the most unique fragrance, it's very distinctive. You generally know that it's Coco Mademoiselle above any other fruity floral. So anyhow, I've got it here. So I'm going to undo it. So yes, I actually had a couple of offers. A couple of people got in touch and were selling, and my fragrance friend Sharon, who we've done deals over the years on perfume swapping and selling to each other, so completely trust her. And yeah, she got in touch and said, actually, initially she just offered me this one, which is the Intense, and then she discovered that she also had the EDP, and did I want that instead? And I decided to stick with the Intense. The Intense I like more. The Intense is not such a big fragrance. It's not, I'm really struggling to get in here. The Intense does not project to anywhere near the degree that the Eau de Parfum does. So I won't be getting that effect that I was talking about with the Intense. But it has a sweeter, richer base that just vibes with me a lot more. It's much more my thing. I'm more likely to wear and choose to wear the Intense than the Eau de Parfum. And I will now get on with the main deal. So it's got a box, which is nice. Is that box? It's in some, what do you call it? Sort of like a foamy wrapping. Foamy wrapping. So I think it's a tester then. Coco Mademoiselle Eau de Parfum Intense. It's a tester. Do you know what? Part of the reason I wanted it was because I absolutely love these bottles. I mean, how stunning is that? That's a big one. That's 100ml. I got this for such a good price. I didn't even see a photo of the bottle, and I didn't even know the size. For the price, I would have been happy with a 50ml, let alone 100ml. So Sharon has really done me such an amazing deal. But look at that stunning bottle. I mean, I just want that on display. It is so beautiful. I've always wanted one of these bottles. I mean, they're iconic. They're so nice. So I'm going to just spray it on. My neck is so rough at the moment, so we'll avoid that. It's a bit, my neck's a bit, I get rashes. So we'll avoid the neck. We'll go down here. I'll go here. Oh, it's nice. It's just so much smoother. It's less sharp. And as I said, I did used to describe Coco Mademoiselle as screechy. This is more of an ambery fragrance rather than a fruituli. I would call this more of an ambery perfume. So good. I'm really happy to have this. Yes, you can still smell the citruses, but they're not as sharp as in, if I go, they're not as sharp. They're kind of blended in with those sweeter notes. So the Mademoiselle Intense has got an added note of labdanum, which is a sticky resin. If you ever look at labdanum, it's a sticky brown resin. Like you could, pull it and it would be all sticky. Has to be warmed up to get it into perfume. That's the labdanum that I had once, and that's how it worked. It's sweet, balsamic, smooth, a touch earthy, but not earthy like patchouli. It's definitely sweeter. I really like labdanum in fragrances, and I think it really does help blend and smooth and richen up the Coco Mademoiselle Intense formula. You can still smell the florals, but there's definitely more sweetness. It smells like there's vanilla, whereas I don't really smell vanilla specifically in Coco Mademoiselle. I don't think it's in there. If it is, it's just a tiny bit blended in. It's just, yeah, it's richer. It's still got a freshness. There's a freshness that comes from the citruses. There's a freshness that comes from the florals. You've got rose and jasmine still. But it's just got this depth underneath, this sweet richness, and everything's very, very smooth and soft and supple and blended and not really screechy or sharp. Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is. Where did we put it? Yeah, the oil. And of course, in comparison now, the oil smells quite faint because obviously I've just sprayed a load of the Intense. The oil is much more subtle, of course. Yeah, I mean, this feels flirty, it feels fun, but it's not too frivolous. It could be taken seriously. I would wear this to work. I would just keep the sprays down to 1 or 2, maybe 3. It's no shrinking violet, you know, it is still like the Eau de Parfum. The Intense has got quite an impact to it, so it's just because it's not as big and bold in terms of its projection, it doesn't mean it's not actually quite the bold statement. Note wise, I think it's the same as the Eau de Parfum, but there is just this added sweeter notes like the labdanum, maybe vanilla and tonka, I think. So just expect it to be richer, denser, but don't expect better performance when it says intense. I think they're just talking about the richness of the more sweeter base materials rather than it being even stronger and louder or longer lasting. So that's really all I have to say. I am very, very happy to have this beautiful lady in my collection, a nice big 100ml. So pleased to have it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do like it, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will see you in another video. Bye.